Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to the AEW Dynamite review. Dynamite tonight was from the Webster Bank Arena in Bridgeport, Connecticut, and haven't done a Dynamite review in 2 weeks because I've been busy. I was, working and had other stuff to do, so I didn't get out a Dynamite review for the past 2 weeks. But Dynamite tonight, this was a awesome show. Really enjoyed Dynamite tonight. It was awesome from beginning to end. And they are doing a good job hyping up Revolution. And I gotta say, I'm more interested in Revolution than WrestleMania this year. I think the card for Revolution is pretty good. And I'm just hyped up more for Revolution than I am WrestleMania, which WrestleMania is looking to be the most predictable WrestleMania, even though they're calling it the most stupendous WrestleMania. Yeah, it's not going to be stupendous. But on Dynamite tonight, we saw a tag team battle royal where the number one contenders who won this tag team battle royal will get to face the Jurassic Express at Revolution, and it's going to be a 3-way tag team match for the AEW World Tag Team titles. And we also saw Pac and Penta El Miedo, the Death Triangle versus Malakai Black and Brody King, which we had a debut after the match, which I will get to explain. And I'm really happy to see this guy make his AEW debut. We had Ricky Starks versus Dark Order member 10 in a Face of the Revolution qualifying match. The TBS Championship was on the line where Jade Cargill defended the title against the Bunny. And the main event, we had Bryan Danielson versus Daniel Garcia. Overall, this was an awesome Dynamite tonight. Really enjoyed it. But if you guys haven't checked out my previous videos that I uploaded, Monday Night Raw review is up. And then last night, I did a DVD review of the Wear Out of Print Locker edition of the Wonder Years The Complete series. So check out those 2 videos if you guys haven't seen them. But anyways, let's jump right into the review. Dynamite tonight opened up with the Tag Team Battle Royal, where the winners will be the number 1 contenders to face the Jurassic Express at Revolution. It will be a 3-way tag team match for the AEW World Tag Team titles. And this was a enjoyable battle royal. There was 10 teams vying for a shot to face the Jurassic Express. And we had the Gun Club in there. We had Austin Colton Gunn in there. The Young Bucks. We had Santana and Ortiz. FTR. So there were points where Austin Gunn was eliminated by Colton by accident at a point in the Battle Royal. And we had the Gun Club were the first to be eliminated out of the Battle Royal. So the Gun Club was the first to be eliminated. And the Butcher and the Blade were also in the match. So the Butcher ended up plowing through the Bucks. And we have Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly also in there. So it's cool that they were there. So Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly end up taking out the Butcher and the Blade. We had the Best Friends. They were trying to take out Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly. You had Chuck Taylor end up getting eliminated. And Matt Hardy was also out there. Matt Hardy was frustrated because his team both got eliminated of the AHFO, the Butcher and the Blade, and you had Private Party out there. They were alone because Matt Hardy ended up leaving out of frustration. So Santana ended up eliminating 2.0. The Bucks ended up taking out Ortiz. And my prediction was for Santana and Ortiz to win this Battle Royal. I would love to see Santana and Ortiz get a shot at the World Tag Team titles. But we had Santana. At this point, he was going at it alone. The Bucks end up facing off with FTR. So FTR end up eliminating Nick Jackson. And we had FTR being the only team with both members, both Harwood and Wheeler involved in the Battle Royal. So Tully Blanchard, he was also out there. Tully Blanchard was trying to interfere. And Tully Blanchard accidentally eliminated Cash Wheeler. So FTR, was out of it. So in the end, it was down to Red Dragon, Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish, the Bucks, and John Silver of the Dark Order. So John Silver ended up taking control of the Battle Royal. He ended up getting leveled with some super kicks from Matt Jackson. Kyle O'Reilly ended up taking out both Matt and John Silver. And so Kyle O'Reilly wins the Battle Royal for him and Bobby Fish. So Red Dragon, Bobby Fish, and Kyle O'Reilly end up winning the match. They are now put into this three-way match at Revolution for the AEW World Tag Team titles. So we have the Jurassic Express and Red Dragon. The other team has yet to be determined. So, it was cool. It's cool that Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish are going to be facing Jurassic Express and this other team that is yet to be determined. So post-match, Hangman Adam Page ended up coming out. He came down to the ring. He ended up taking out Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish. Adam Cole then came in. He tried hitting Page with a sneak attack. Page ended up taking out Adam Cole. Started throwing some left and rights at Cole. Page was ready to hit the buckshot lariat on Adam Cole. But Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish end up removing Adam Cole from the ring. Kyle O'Reilly was throwing the ring, and Page ended up taking advantage of that, and he ended up laying out O'Reilly with the buckshot lariat, turning him inside out. It was a nice buckshot lariat from Page to O'Reilly. And then Page got on the mic. Page ended up saying that it's story time. So Page ended up telling a story about Adam Cole's desire to win the AEW World Championship. Page ended up saying that Cole never realized he was moving closer and closer to a 6-foot hole in the ground. He ended up saying that Cole's taken one step too close to the grave, and the better Adam will hit him. So pretty much that was basically what Page had to say. But overall, this was a good tag team battle royal. Really happy that Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish are put into this three-way tag team match with the Jurassic Express at Revolution for the AEW World Tag Team titles. The other team that's going to be in this three-way is yet to be determined. So really do wish that it was Santana and Ortiz. I think with this mystery tag team, because it's a three-way tag team, it's a three-way tag team match at Revolution. Hopefully, I want to see Santana and Ortiz be put into this. That's my prediction. I know that's possibly not going to happen, but Santana and Ortiz should get a shot at the AEW World Tag Team titles. And then we went backstage, Tony Schiavone ended up interviewing Bryan Danielson. Bryan ended up telling Tony Schiavone that he's going to show Daniel Garcia the difference between their mentors tonight. So Bryan ended up also telling Jon Moxley that tonight he will bleed with him. So, little interview with Bryan there. And then we had MJF. MJF ended up coming to the ring, and he came to discuss his upcoming dog collar match that he's going to be having with CM Punk. And it's going to be taking place at Revolution. Should be a good match there. So MJF came out. He looked like he was going to cry. And MJF ended up saying that he knows he's not the easiest person to like, but he wants an opportunity. So he ended up saying that it's easy to believe that he was raised with a silver spoon in his mouth. He ended up saying that the only reason he got out of bed in the morning was wrestling. He ended up saying that he loves AEW, and meeting CM Punk meant the world to him. Apparently, there was a promo with MJF and CM Punk where Punk was in the ring, and he held up a picture of a young MJF, with him, with Punk. So MJF ended up saying that he has severe ADHD, and every day at school was hell. He wanted to say that football was the one thing he was good at. He was one of only 2 Jewish kids on the team. So MJF then ended up asking the crowd if there are any Jews in the house. He ended up saying that one day he saw his teammates walking up to him and that they looked angry. He ended up saying that they were holding rolls of quarters and that all his teammates were throwing quarters at him. And he ended up saying that his teammates ended up saying to him, "Pick it up, Jew boy." So he ended up saying that he cried at home. But he stopped when he remembered that he got to meet CM Punk. He ended up saying that Punk was his hero and the guy he looked up to. He ended up saying that he wanted to learn how to speak up for himself and be just like him, be just like Punk. MJF went on to say that he had football scholarships left and right, but he didn't care. And so MJF ended up saying that all he wanted was to be just like Punk. So MJF ended up referencing when Punk quit WWE and left all of his fans. He ended up saying that he buried his happiness and dreams after learning about it. So MJF ended up making a promise to not leave people high and dry that look up to him. So MJF ended up declaring himself that he is better than Punk, and that Punk knows it. So then we saw Punk, he ended up storming down to the ring. He had a confused look on his face. Punk ended up asking MJF if his story was true, and if it's real. So MJF refused to answer Punk, and MJF ended up leaving the ring, and that was that. But this was a good promo from MJF. He's playing into Punk. And from what I've heard, all of this that MJF said about him, playing football and, he had football scholarships. From what I heard, he talked about this when he had an interview with Stone Cold Steve Austin. That's what I heard. I didn't know that Stone Cold interviewed MJF back then. So I did not know that. But that's what I heard from people online, that MJF said this to Stone Cold Steve Austin. But this was a good promo from MJF. And then we had Daniel Garcia and 2.0 being interviewed. Jeff Parker ended up saying that they walked through these doors together, and now Bryan Danielson wants to swoop in and mentor Daniel Garcia. Matt Lee ended up saying that if he wants a taste, he's getting a taste. And Daniel Garcia ended up saying that he doesn't need a lesson in violence. And tonight, he'll teach Bryan the lesson. So that was basically what they had to say. And then we had Pac and Penta el Miedo, which they were calling him, I guess right here, Penta Oscuro. I think that's how you pronounce the last name. But, Penta was wearing, like black, and it almost looked like the attire that he wore when he was part of Lucha Underground. So Pac and Penta took on Malakai Black and Brody King. And this was a very good match here. Alex Abrahantes, he was out there. He was wearing like this cape. And I think he was carrying like a sword. And I'm like, why was Alex Abrahantes dressed like that? Never seen Alex Abrahantes come out looking like that. So Penta delivered 2 super kicks to Black and Brody King. And he followed up with a dive to the outside. The match officially began. Pac started things off with Malakai Black. Pac delivered a 450 splash to Black, and he went for the cover. Black kicked out at 2. Pac then tagged in Penta, and Penta ended up hitting some leg strikes on Malakai Black. Penta ended up backing Malakai Black to the corner, and he ended up tagging Pac back in. Pac and Penta were staying on Malakai Black, double teaming on him, and they weren't giving Black any opportunity to tag in Brody King. So Black ended up tagging in Brody King later on. So Brody King ended up taking out Pac, and he ended up going for the cover. Pac ended up kicking out. So Brody King was just throwing some strikes at Pac. Brody King ended up getting Pac into the corner, started sticking his foot into Pac's neck. Black ended up tagging in. He ended up hitting Pac with some knee strikes. So Malakai Black and Brody King were just tagging in and out, and they were keeping Pac to prevent him from tagging Penta. Brody King landed a big boot on Pac, and he sent Pac into the ropes. Brody King ended up just clubbing Pac with some blows. Brody King lifted Pac up to his feet, and he hit him with a chop that sent him back down to the mat. So Brody King ended up going for the cover. Pac ended up getting his shoulders up. So at the end of the match, we had Malakai Black. He was attempting to use the mist at Penta, but Penta ended up stopping Black from shooting out the mist. So Penta ended up using that to get the pinfall on Malakai Black, to which he did. So they go Pac and Penta ended up winning the match. Post-match, Brody King ended up ambushing Penta from behind, and we had a beatdown. Brody King then turned his attention to Pac. He ended up stomping Pac in the corner. Malakai Black ended up bringing Penta's shovel into the ring. He ended up placing the shovel on Penta's neck, and the lights then went out in the arena. And as the lights came back on, we had the debut of Buddy Matthews. Buddy Matthews made his AEW debut, of course. He was originally Buddy Murphy in WWE. So glad to see Buddy Matthews here. And we had Malakai Black. He looked shocked. He looked like he's seen a ghost when Buddy Matthews was in the ring. So Malakai Black ended up backing away from Buddy Matthews. Buddy Matthews then went and hit Pac with a kick to the face. So Buddy Matthews ended up stomping away at Penta in the corner. Brody King ended up taking him out. And we had Brody King, Malakai Black, and Buddy Matthews. They were just taking out Pac and Penta. Malakai Black ended up setting up a chair for Buddy Matthews to stomp Penta's face into. And pretty much that was basically how the segment ended. But this was an awesome debut for Buddy Matthews. He is now aligned with the House of Black, with Malakai Black and Brody King. So that's awesome there. So, but really glad to see, Buddy Matthews in AEW. But overall, this was a good match between Black, King, and Pac and Penta. And then we had Eddie Kingston and Chris Jericho. Eddie Kingston ended up making his way down to the ring first. And then Jericho, of course, you had the crowd singing along to Judas. So Kingston ended up getting on the mic. Kingston ended up saying that he doesn't appreciate the security that was in the ring. So Jericho ended up referring to Kingston as a street thug. Kingston then went on to say that he doesn't know why they're doing this, because he's not a sports entertainer. Kingston then went on to say that since Jericho's not going to fight him, they might as well get two women in the ring to wrestle. Kingston then went on to say that it's a wrestling company, not a sports entertainment company. Of course, referencing WWE, taking shots at WWE, considering that Jericho, was, of course, a part of WWE. So Jericho ended up saying that they're down the road from Stamford, but he guarantees this sports entertainment will actually be entertaining. I see what Jericho did there. He goes on to say, oh yeah, this will actually be entertaining. So he's taking shots at WWE because the WWE product, which we all know, is terrible nowadays. So Jericho ended up saying that he had never heard of Eddie Kingston before they hired him. He ended up saying that he thought they were talking about Eddie Edwards at first. So he ended up saying that Eddie Kingston looked like a jobber when he came in. Jericho ended up saying that when he heard Kingston's promo, he realized this guy was good. Of course, whenever Eddie Kingston is on the mic, you just gotta listen to what he has to say. The guy has good mic skills, and he could deliver a good promo. The guy is that talented on the mic. So Jericho ended up saying that Kingston has something special and what it takes to get to the top. So Jericho ended up saying that it wouldn't be long before Kingston became a huge babyface in the company. He ended up saying that Kingston got over his physical and mental issues and finally made it to the big time at 38 years old. Jericho wanted to say that he never gave two shits about Kingston's sob story or him in general. Jericho ended up saying that Kingston's jealous of him because he made it to the big time when he was 22. So Jericho ended up saying that by the time he turned 38, he had already main evented pay-per-views and been world champion. And he also made millions of dollars. He then wanted to say that Kingston knows deep down he could never be at his level. So then Kingston ended up saying that he doesn't care about what Jericho's saying. He ended up saying that Jericho main evented all those events because he wasn't there. He ended up saying that he's not like the others that lie. Kingston ended up saying that he's going to do this his way and be himself until he dies. Kingston ended up saying that Jericho's sucking the blood out of him. So then Eddie Kingston ended up issuing a challenge against Jericho at Revolution. So Jericho ended up saying that Kingston is terrified to make it to the top and level he's on. Jericho then claims that Eddie Kingston would fall if he ever made it to the top. He also brought up Kingston's uncle and father, to which Jericho claims are both failures. Jericho ended up saying that deep inside, Eddie Kingston feels that like he's a failure and can't win the big one. Jericho wanted to say that he's the big one in the company and not anyone else. So Jericho ended up accepting Eddie Kingston's challenge for Revolution. And he ended up saying, however, Kingston won't win the big one, but if he beats him, he will look him in the eyes, shake his hand, and give him his respect. So Eddie Kingston ended up saying that he wants the version of Jericho that won the AEW Championship. He wants the version of Jericho that Levesque hated. Of course, referencing Triple H, Paul Levesque. So Jericho ended up saying that Kingston will always be a loser and never win the big one. And that was how the segment ended. But this was a very good segment here. This, both good promos from Jericho and Eddie Kingston to set up their match at Revolution. Should be a good match between the both of them. Looking forward to it. Eddie Kingston, of course, here. Good on the mic, as always. And Jericho, of course, always good on the mic. You got to listen to what these two have to say. So, but good segment. And then we had a promo from AHFO. Matt Hardy ended up saying that Andrade is going to win the TNT Championship on Friday. He ended up asking if he's going to tag Isaiah Cassidy in to get the win. So Andrade ended up firing back. He ended up saying that he doesn't need anybody's help. Matt ended up telling him that he's just joking. So Matt ended up setting up a Tornado Trios match. So it's going to be Andrade, Matt Hardy, and Isaiah Cassidy versus Sting, Darby Allin, and Sammy Guevara. So that should be a good match there. And then we have Ricky Starks versus the Dark Order's 10. This was a Face of the Revolution qualifying match where you got to qualify for the Face of the Revolution ladder match at Revolution. And the winner will get a future shot at the TNT Championship. So we have Keith Lee, Wardlow, Powerhouse Will Hobbs, Orange Cassidy, and Anthony Bowens all qualified for the Face of the Revolution ladder match. So everyone here, Ricky Starks or 10, they will qualify for the ladder match. I think we all knew who won this match. So, but this was, a decent match here. Starks and 10 end up locking up. 10 end up quickly dropping Starks. Starks end up getting right back up. He ended up delivering a side hillock to 10. 10 reversed it and ended up dropping Ricky Starks. Starks then got back up. He regained control of the match. He did a shoulder tackle to 10. 10 ended up managing to get Starks in the corner, started delivering some chops and punches. So 10 ended up hitting Starks with a forearm to his face. Starks came back, delivered a swinging DDT, which he missed. He ended up finding himself in a vertical suplex by 10. Starks, later on in the match, he got back in control. He was taunting the crowd. He delivered a backbreaker to 10, which sent 10 into the corner. Ricky Starks ended up ramming his shoulders into 10's gut. And he ended up hitting a club and blow to 10's back, sending him down to the mat. And at the end of the match, we had Starks end up ripping at 10's mask to break the hold because 10 ended up going for a full Nelson. He locked it in on Starks, and that's when Starks ended up ripping at 10's mask, and he ended up breaking the hold. And Starks delivered a spear to 10, and he went for the cover. And there you go. Ricky Starks ended up winning the match. Obviously, we all knew Ricky Starks was winning. So now 2 members of Team Taz are in the Face of the Revolution ladder match. So who is the next person to qualify for the Face of the Revolution ladder match at our Revolution? We'll have to wait and see. And that match is going to take place this Friday on Rampage. But overall, it was a decent match between Starks and 10. So then we had the Bucks. The Bucks were backstage. They were accusing Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish of double-crossing them. They ended up saying that they still have a chance to find their way into the match at Revolution. So Adam Cole ended up saying that they have to get along with the Bucks because he has a lot on his plate. So you have Adam Cole, he ends up bouncing back to the Bucks, which, you know, the Bucks are his best friends, and he's with Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish. So Adam Cole has to make a decision. Does he want us to be with Kyle O'Reilly or Bobby Fish, or with the Bucks still? So that's the decision that Adam Cole has to make. And then we had Jade Cargill versus the Bunny. TBS Championship on the line. And this was just a meh matchup here. We all knew who was going to win it. Jade Cargill was dominating on the Bunny. Jade ended up taking the Bunny down with a kick to the face. Cargill ended up working over Bunny's arm. And the Bunny ended up managing to get Cargill out to the apron. She ended up knocking her down. Cargill was on the apron, and the Bunny ended up hitting her with a running forearm from behind. Cargill crawled to the corner while she was back in the ring. The Bunny ended up hitting Cargill with a running double kick to the back of her neck. Cargill ended up reclaiming control of the match. She ended up hitting a kip up to return to her feet. Cargill ended up attempting a bicycle kick, but she ended up getting stopped by a forearm by the Bunny. So we had at one point the Bunny end up landing a run seated clothesline on Cargill, and she ended up going for the cover. Cargill kicked out at 2. And there was a point where Mark Sterling and Matt Hardy were going at it on the apron, and Aubrey Edwards ended up rejecting both Matt Hardy and Mark Sterling from ringside. So then the Bunny ended up trying to roll Cargill up, and Cargill ended up kicking out. Cargill transitioned that pin from the Bunny into Jaded. So Cargill ended up pinning Jaded on the Bunny. She ended up going for the cover. And there you go. Jade Cargill won the match, retaining the TBS Championship. So now Jade Cargill is 28-0. Post-match, Cargill ended up getting on the mic, and she ended up asking, who's next? And so, Tay Conti ended up coming out. Tay Conti got on the mic. She ended up saying that she's the one who was going to beat Jade's ass. So, Conti ended up coming into the ring. She ended up getting into Cargill's face. The Bunny ended up attacking Tay Conti, and she ended up getting knocked out. So, Tay Conti ended up just punching the Bunny, and Tay Conti ended up not seeing Cargill's pump kick coming to her. So Conti ended up going down, and that was that. So now it's going to be Jade Cargill versus Tay Conti, TBS Championship on the line. So that's Cargill's next opponent, Tay Conti. And then we had Keith Lee. Keith Lee was being interviewed backstage. Keith Lee was listing off the entrants in the ladder match, and Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Will Hobbs. They end up coming up to Keith Lee. They end up telling him that Team Taz runs things around here. And no matter where you come from, you start over here. So Hobbs end up stepping up to Keith Lee. Starks end up getting in between the both of them. And end up saying, save it for Revolution. And that was that. But I would love to see Keith Lee versus Powerhouse Will Hobbs. That would be a good matchup there. So give us that match. I would highly want to see that. Main event. Bryan Danielson versus Daniel Garcia. Good main event. Really enjoyed this match. Match started off with Bryan and Daniel Garcia. They end up locking up. Bryan ended up taking control of the match. He ended up hitting Daniel Garcia with an uppercut. Garcia ended up firing back and delivered a punch to Bryan. Garcia ended up landing 2 chops to Bryan's chest. And Bryan ended up taking Garcia down. He started firing off onto Garcia with some punches. He ended up locking in Garcia in a submission, which Garcia ended up trying to roll towards the ropes, which he ended up rolling towards the ropes, which forced Bryan to break the hold. So Bryan ended up getting up to his feet. He ended up delivering a kick to Garcia's face. And Danielson ended up running the ropes. He ended up getting leveled with a chop block by Daniel Garcia as Garcia ended up working over Bryan's leg. And he ended up blocking a submission on Bryan. So both guys were doing some quick submissions. And Bryan ended up landing his leg strike in the corner to Daniel Garcia. So Garcia ended up getting Bryan into the corner to deliver a chop. Bryan ended up landing a few chops of his own before he was taken down by his leg, which was hurt from Daniel Garcia. Daniel Garcia ended up hitting Bryan with a dragon screw to damage his leg even further. So Bryan ended up getting out of the ring. Daniel Garcia ended up trying to suplex Bryan back into the ring. But Bryan ended up suplexing Daniel Garcia out of the ring instead. And he followed up with a knee off the apron. Bryan climbed up to the top rope. He delivered a missile drop kick to Daniel Garcia. And Bryan ended up delivering some strikes to Daniel Garcia. And Bryan locked in the half crab. And both men got up to their feet because the half crab ended up turning to both Bryan and Daniel Garcia. They were trying to use a heel hook. So Bryan ended up hitting a tiger suplex to Daniel Garcia. So Bryan then went for the mutilation. He locked it in, but Garcia ended up getting out of it. He ended up grabbing him for an ankle lock. So at the end of the match, Bryan ended up locking in the triangle sleeper to Daniel Garcia. And so Bryan ended up winning the match. Post-match, 2.0 ended up coming out. They ended up ambushing Bryan. Jon Moxley then made his way out. He stormed the ring. He ended up making the save. He ended up taking out 2.0. Daniel Garcia ended up trying to smash Moxley with a chair, but Bryan ended up stopping him. Moxley ended up dropping Daniel Garcia with the paradigm shift. So after that, Bryan got on the mic, and he ended up bringing up the comments that Moxley made earlier about them bleeding together. So Bryan ended up agreeing to the match against Moxley at Revolution, and he ended up telling him not to be surprised if he's the only one bleeding. So that was what Bryan had to say, but we're getting the match. Bryan versus Jon Moxley at Revolution. It's going to be a good match between the both of them. Looking forward to it. And that was how Dynamite went off the air. But overall, good match from Bryan and Daniel Garcia. And this was an awesome Dynamite tonight. Awesome show from beginning to end. But anyways, that's it for my review of AEW Dynamite. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this review. Definitely give the video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all later.